This video focuses on the Eighth Amendment and the fact that it protects you from being exposed by the government to cruel and unusual punishment. So we hear about this one a lot too, and also prevents you from being subjected to excessive bail. Like you steal a loaf of bread from Wawa, they can't set your bail at like $70 million, right? That the punishment generally has to fit the crime. So again, this sort of protects the rights of those in our society that are accused of committing crimes. You can't be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment, tortured, beaten, or you can't be subjected to excessive bail. So the interesting argument is like, what about the death penalty? So some would argue that the death penalty is cruel and unusual punishment. You can't get any more cruel than putting somebody to death. However, the Supreme Court has ruled that the death penalty does not violate the Eighth Amendment. It's really up to states to choose whether they want to have it or not. They don't have to sentence people to death in the state. It's up to the state. But if they want to, they can. You can see all of the states that are in the dark blue color are states with the death penalty. Light blue do not have the death penalty. And the two gray states, PA and Oregon, technically have the death penalty as an option, but they have governors that essentially are saying that they have no intention of carrying out death sentences while they're in office. However, you should know that the Supreme Court has jumped in a couple times. First in 2002, in the case of Atkins versus Virginia, where they said if a person is deemed to be mentally ill, that it would be cruel and unusual to sentence that person to death. Right? And then in 2005, the Supreme Court in Roper v. Simmons further stated that any crime that results in sentencing a juvenile, somebody under the age of 18, to death, would also be cruel and unusual. So in our country now, if you're under the age of 18, no matter what crime you commit, you're not death penalty eligible because of Roper v. Simmons. It's also interesting to look at the topic of corporal punishment. So corporal punishment is the idea that schools can engage in physical punishment against students as a form of discipline. You may be surprised to see that corporal punishment is legal in approximately 19 states, most of them found in the South. And that doesn't mean that the states administer it or allow, most school districts are doing it, but it means that technically they're within the law to be able to do that. The Supreme Court actually in 1977, in the case of Ingram versus Wright, ruled that an appropriate use of physical punishment, and that's sort of arbitrary, directed at students as a disciplinary measure is not cruel and unusual punishment. So kind of an interesting sort of viewpoint from that of the Supreme Court. That being said, there are very few schools that actually engage in this practice. So that's a little bit about the Eighth Amendment.